This is not your typical top 10 shaders for Minecraft. In this video, I went on and searched for some criminally underrated shaders. Some are completely forgotten, others just got updated and looks completely different. And some of them don't even need Optifine or Iris shaders to work. Stick around and watch till the end, you can't miss any of these, believe me. Forget Me Not is a shader that doesn't need neither Optifine or Iris shaders to work. It requires a special engine called Canvas Renderer, and you must put the shader on the resource pack folder instead and enable it. Anyways, Forget Me Not is a shader that I was fortunate enough to come across. The water here is beautiful and very distinct from other shader. It has this eye-catching blue water that is clearly transparent. The underwater is also equally fascinating and tropical. The nighttime is mysterious, and the sky here is magical and makes you want to just sit down, relax and observe the beautiful moon. The caves are also noticeably darker than before, and the nether is foggy and suffocating to some extent. If you've been feeling down a bit, then my friend, stop for a moment and look at this aesthetic and therapeutically calming sunset. My favorite part about this shader is how it gives you the option to switch seasons, each part of the year with its unique color tint and feel. The best in my opinion being autumn. The good old Complementary has now become unbounded. The new 5.0 update of the shader has featured tremendous improvements over things like the clouds, as they are now more profound and active. The water has also been improved and got considerably desimplified. And alongside the improved clouds, Complementary Unbound will offer you, my friend, a magical sunset visual. Another advantage it had over the old version is how the clouds has now full collision and can be pierced by mountains to create this astronomical scenery. Another scenery enhancement is that the aurora skies. They have now been slightly ameliorated and became a bit more detailed. Integrated PBR has also been enhanced a tiny bit. And one of the best updates ever is the rain. The thunders will now feel very overwhelming, in a good way of course. And once the weather is cleared, a colorful rainbow will raise from within the clouds. The nether was also overhauled with the 5.0 update, as it's now more hellish with all of these flame effects and perplexing atmosphere. Lux is a phenomenal fantasy shader. It may not come as a surprise for you guys, but the name Lux is coming from the word luxury, and the pack itself didn't fail to live up to that name. The water is charming, and when you dive in it, you'll notice that the underwater has also been refined. When it starts raining, the floor will get wet and will start reflecting the light from nearby sources. Once you decide it's time to travel to the end, stop a moment and observe the beauty of the portal itself. After you actually get in, you'll confirm that this shader is indeed luxurious. Going to the nether will also be just as exciting, believe me. Potato shader, although it was made to be a lightweight shader, its graphics is undeniably superior to many no-lag shaders. I love how the sunbeams scatter between leaves, and the water is so tropical and convenient. It feels like the shader didn't look to impair overall beauty for some extra FPS, which is something I respect. The nether looks marvelous and bright. Same goes to the end. If you've been looking for a low-end shader that actually looks good, then this is the pack for you. I've covered Bliss back in the day, and it was already looking good enough, but lately, Bliss 2.0 has been released, offering amazing fog and heavily detailed clouds. The distant fog in this shader is unbeatable, especially when it's sunset, and the water animation is also peerless, not to mention how beautifully it reflects the sun on the surface, and the nighttime feels mysterious and whimsy. When it's raining, a set of puddle will cover everything. Not to forget, of course, the biome-specific fog. As you can see, all of the jungle, swamps, and deserts have a different type of fog, the thing that will surely promote adventure in your game. Now to the nether. Its dimension has been improved immensely. Now, just like Kappa, the nether will have flaming effects all over the place, and it differs depending on the biome. The end, however, is a completely different story. As you can see, this place has been completely overhauled and feels like another planet. Bliss 2.0 is honestly a massive jump from the old version, so don't miss it out. FastPBR is a new shader pack released by the amazing LRE36. This shader offered similar visuals to Kappa, but with more detailed water waves and clouds. The nighttime here is fantastic, and the sunset is fabulous. The rain weather, however, wasn't very sophisticated with this pack. You'll not see any wet floors, unfortunately, and the nether looks typical with some lighting enhancements. But the end looks terrific, and the sky has this new set of clouds designed specifically for this dimension. Also, the reason it was called FastPBR is probably due to the performance it had when running a PBR pack. As you can see, I loaded Matrix 128X and then a sounding 32 render distance. Yet I'm still getting relatively good frame rate. Just bear in mind that it doesn't support Optifine, so use iris shaders instead. Exposa shader is also a pack I covered a few months ago. It used to look very broken, but lately it has been updated heavily. Upon applying this pack, your overworld will literally turn into heaven. Everything from the clouds to the water to the reflection of the clouds on the water has been completely revamped. Nighttime was updated as well. The moon's textures have been changed and the clouds fits this style perfectly. One of my favorite scenes is going to a flashy place during nighttime. I mean, just take a moment to appreciate the beauty of the light reflecting on the water. Rain weather was also enhanced, but I feel like the floor turns into a mirror that reflects the surface above it precisely, which could be a turn off to some people. Me personally, I love the new update, and I think the creator is going places, so best of luck, my friend. Arc is perhaps the most advanced shaders on the list, and I advise you use Matrix alongside it. Sunrise here is breathtaking. Nighttime can be a bit dark, but it's glorious nonetheless, and I adore the foam on the water surface. This is a feature that no other shader possesses. Once the weather is rainy, everything will be covered with water, and not just a full coverage but very detailed set of puddles. This shader pack has a built-in compatibility with the physics mod, but be sure to tweak this option so you don't run into the lava ocean glitch. The underwater with the physics mod is straight up next gen, and the lighting is otherworldly. Other dimensions have also been improved, starting with the nether. The change here was minimal, but the end, oh man, it's bizarre honestly, and the green color tint made it even better. Shrimple is a voxelization shader from the same creator as Arc. The first thing you'll notice when using this shader is how light accurately interacts with the random blocks. It scatters between fences to create these accurate shadows that look spectacular. Glass color lights are also something that really stood out to me, as well as the colored lights from sources like the nether portal with its purple-ish light, or redstone contraptions with its sharp red light. You'll mostly notice the effect of this shader on normal torches and lanterns, and it sure brings the feeling of awe and admiration within me. This pack has the ability to make the most plain or simple builds extremely smooth and eye-catching. Not to mention of course the nether. It is a dimension that you should definitely explore with this shader. Same goes to the end. You'll submerge in a world of fantasy the moment you install Lizzy shader. This is a well-curated project that will overhaul Minecraft graphics as you know it. Everything from the rain weather to moving greens and the dark nights will look relaxing and fancy. The clouds here are also quite simple and dynamic, and they kinda remind me of the Astralix shader. The caves have also been enlightened, and the nether looks magnificent as well. The wonderful about Lizzy's shader is how you can run it with any realistic texture pack. It's also possible to enable cell shading on the settings. This will switch the game from being Minecraft to Borderlands. Let's first talk about the beautiful cloud collision of the Solas Shader. This looks seriously impressive, especially during nighttime. There's also this eye-catching volumetric light scattering its way through leaves. If you can notice, there is an aurora effect hidden in the thick clouds. Now to the sunrise. I would argue this is perhaps the most beautiful scene I've ever witnessed in my 20 years of age, and you've probably second me in this one. The clouds during the day can also be just as fabulous, considering how it will create this incomprehensible scenery. Now when it comes to integrated PBR, this shader is a stellar. And my favorite PBR is below the sea level, specifically the warm oceans. It's always a pleasure to see colored lights on the shader. When it's raining, a small amount of puddles will cover the floor. It's not as extreme as other shaders, but it does the job. Also, before we showcase the nether, the partial itself can give you an anticipation of how amazing this dimension will be. And see, I didn't lie, the nether looks especially good with the Solas Shader, and you can't really miss out on this one. Now before we start here, go to the settings and disable the fog, so you are able to see anything with this shader. Vertigo shader is a project everyone has forgotten. It hasn't been updated since 1.8. Oh man, that's a long time ago. This shader still looks good, but many parts of it are missing due to version incompatibility. With another forgotten shader, you can just tell me you haven't tried the YouTuber's dream shader back in the days. This shader used to really kick, and with all honesty, it still does. Never have I seen such an amazing visuals before. The shader was way ahead of its time. The reflections are top notch and quite accurate. And the volumetric lighting from the moon is immaculate. Same applies to the volumetric lighting from the sun. This shader will surely brighten up your mornings in the game. I like how this shader is timeless and can be used in any version at any time. And let's pay our respect to the creator who first constructed this masterpiece back in the days. MemeTX will give you a brief sneak peek into the magnificence of the NVIDIA Bedrock RTX. All the features ranging from reflections on the concrete blocks to the metallic blocks and the light emission from any light source. What really made my jaw drop was the atmospheric attributes. If you've played RTX ray tracing before, you'd find it hard to spot a difference between the RTX Bedrock and the MemeTX shader. I also find it difficult to comprehend that this amazing project was only made for fun and never got serious dedication put into it. I mean, we can't expect less of the creator of this shader, and it's the same creator who made the Kappa shader. If you've been wishing to play NVIDIA ray tracing but you don't have an RTX card, save your money and install this shader instead. Vibrance is just an edit of the good old Chocapeak 13 shader. On the surface, this shader may look the same as Chocapeak, but if you look just a little bit longer, you'll notice improvements over things like the water surface, as well as the nighttime and the clouds. Rain weather is also foggier than Chocapeak 13, but I failed to notice any significant changes on places like the caves and the nether. Builder's Call is a lightweight shader with amazing clouds and fantastic tropical water. Also, when the rain stops, an incredible rainbow will show up. But do you really think this is why I included it here? This crazy shader is quite clearly the only one in the universe that is compatible with the Twilight Forest mod. But please note that only the 1.12 version of it is compatible, and also make sure you install the modded version of this shader. Anyways, as you can see, the Twilight Forest will look more alive with those moving leaves and the amazing aurora sky. Not to mention of course the water shading that perfectly fits this place. I never thought I would be able to see this dimension with any shaders on, but the creator of this shader made it possible, and I'm all grateful for it. Ymir is another shader by RRE36. This person creates so many great shaders, I gotta give him that. Ymir shader featured similar graphics to Kappa shader, but I can notice simpler water waves and more detailed clouds. I love the thunderstorm with this shader as it affects every part of the environment around you. And once it's over, a rainbow will emerge. Sunset here is quite adorable and perhaps one of the most beautiful on the list. Midnight however feels a bit too dark. I literally can't see anything. But when it's nighttime, meaning right after the sunsets, you will be able to see pretty good looking visuals. The nether here is beautiful, but just like in the midnight part, you can't see anything on the dark areas. Noble is one of the most underrated shaders, to be honest. The amount of details each part of it contains is immeasurable, and the water tropicality here is unmatched. And the way the waves on the surface reflect the sun is unlike any other shader. It's quite detailed and alive. Sunset is also very charming. you can notice how the water kinda sparkles. And Noble is one of the very few shaders that don't become pitch black when it's nighttime. In fact, everything will be relatively visible to you. But of course, after it's midnight, you would hardly even see anything. This shader is so detailed and beautiful to the point that you would think it's a rendered picture. And rightly so. When you go to the settings, there is literally an option to make it look like a rendered image. Rain weather, however, wasn't entirely implemented, and you will not see any rain puddles, which is sad. But the nether, oh boy, I can't even describe to you how much I was surprised when I first entered this dimension. The creator is honestly a genius to even come up with such effects and visuals. Believe me, Noble RT is perhaps the best shader you will ever try, and it's also free. Reflective Vanilla is not one of those fancy shaders. As you might have guessed from the name, the shader only makes the metallic and glowing blocks interact with each other. You will only notice reflective blocks, hence the name, and that's it. But make sure you guys have a vanilla PBR pack like EV PBR or vanilla PBR. I'll link both in the description.